Hello, this is skdmrkz returning to you with another sketchbook and an even crazier phone setup as shown by this picture. I still don't have a tripod and I don't want to spend $45 to get one, so I'm just going to continue to make more stupidly elaborate ways to position my phone where I can record. I also moved again to another major SoCal city. Go figure, I've now lived in all three major southern counties except for Orange County, since I graduated high school too, which is crazy. But without further ado, let's get into it. I started this one in January 2025, but also not really, because I did start this in high school, so for the first like 10 pages, it's mostly old stuff. I decorated the cover with stuff I found while I was still in San Diego, so there's like a local graffiti artist and I got some of their stickers. And then also just like I volunteered at the aquarium and got a few stuff from there, plus the titular In-N-Out stickers from In-N-Out. Every time I make a sketchbook, I try to make an interesting inside cover, and I failed this time because I was extremely unenthused and tired by the time I came back and finished this and wanted to make it. Also, I am re-recording this because the first time I was really nauseous and almost threw up, so that did not make for a very interesting read. But also, this sketchbook isn't actually terribly interesting, so I'm going to zoom through a lot of the stuff that is boring. This is me turning a lot of my main characters into ponies from My Little Pony because I wanted to, and it's sick as fuck. This is, I think, inverse functions, which are evil. You know it's bad when you see math in a sketchbook. This was when I was in AP Calc and senior year of high school. This was for a history project where I had to choose two fictional characters to represent each political party. Yeah, Batman is obviously a Republican. These are logo attempt designs and also trying to get Adrian's facial structure down. This is the 50 count because I used to be an Air Force JROTC. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that here before. This is violent autistic coded men. I made this list, I think, for inspiration for my characters. I actually don't remember. This was me trying some speculative biology out where I was trying to figure out where Jag's hair goes when they shift, because especially for Lucas, his crest isn't actually the same stuff as his hair. It is made out of keratin, but it's a different thing. And I was like, what if it goes into a mucousy pouch that protects vital organs when they shift? Because there's this thing where if you break their jaw when they're in beast form, they shift back because of like a reflex. Not going to get into it. And I don't know if I'm going to keep that because that's like overly complicated. And plus his crest is directly proportional to how much hair he has on his head. So they should be the same thing. But it was a fun, really gross concept, because if you sliced it, you get like a puddle of hair and mucus. This was concepts for Adrian's neck tattoo. It used to be based off of Michael defeating Satan, but that took too long to draw, and also I stopped liking it. And also, he wouldn't ever get something like that. That's just not his character taste, so I'm still workshopping his tattoos. These are aprons I made for someone. I can't remember who, but they were fun to make. My friend drew that. These were notes I took off of an RE Pan course. These are notes I made for somebody else on shape design, big, medium, small. Thank you, Cynics, for that. This was based off a picture I saw on Pinterest. If you've been on Pinterest enough for drawing references, and you've probably seen that picture. That was a watercolor piece of where I used to live. That's a sticker from where I got my aviation headset when I was briefly a pilot. That was crazy. And now we're finally in modern stuff. So I started this, in January, right after I did the most recent sketchbook tour of my most recent sketchbook, that tiny one from Daiso. I think I just spat on the page. Wow, that was crazy. Anyway, you can tell it's newer because there's more and better hatching, I would say. That's pretty much a staple, plus the blue ballpoint pen and stuff like that. And yeah, this is when I was living in an apartment that was $1K a month, and I had a roommate, and another person also lived there, so I was getting ripped off. And I was also working 50 hours a week, so that was crazy, and I'm glad I'm not there anymore. These are just dogs. I think I was trying to design like a dog Sona, and I say that because there's a hat, and I used to wear hats a lot. This was an attempt to design like a centipede dog creature, because at this point it had been a while since I was drawing, since not only was I working 50 hours a week, I was also in school part-time taking like 8 to 11 credits. I forgot how many it was. This was the thumbnail and ideas for a commission, which I did finish, and I'll throw that up on the screen. This was like an idea for a tattoo for my friend who wanted a rosemary band, so I gave a shot at it just to see what I could do. these are just for fun. A lot of the sketchbook is like really unrefined. There's not a lot of crazy, interesting things in here. But yeah, just trying to draw my characters again because it had been so long since I drew them. I do like this one a lot because of the flow in the shapes. This was a design for, or not a design, this was a concept for this comic I was thinking about for Reese's backstory, which is also related to this digital piece, and I'll throw that up on the screen right now. It's basically about, I don't know, like finding your double, not necessarily soulmate, but then having to kill that person because they represent a part of you that needs to go. I don't, crazy stuff. I'll probably detail that later, but I enjoyed doing that. These were just to explore Money Shot's fashion, which Money Shot is my persona. I don't know if I've ever talked about him on here either, but I do enjoy these sketches a lot. And this is my favorite drawing of Marnie in the sketchbook. I think she looks really good here. This is a sketch about one of Adrian's love interests in Broker. I think there's also a sketch of Reese listening to his engine with a screwdriver in this. I don't actually, maybe not, but yeah, just Reese knows the guy in question and thinks he's a goober. So yeah, it was fun to do quick thumbnails like that. These were various hatching studies and exercises and things like that. This is from the prequel to Broker, which is the main story with the other characters I've been talking about, where Adrian is still like a shithead teenager, and one of his boxing coaches tells him to cut his hair, to which he says, "What is my boyfriend going to hold on to then?" Yeah, and then here's them practicing down here. This was based off of a screen cap from The Place Beyond the Pines that I found on Pinterest. And this was when I got microns and Posca markers for Secret Santa, so that was very fun. I was swatching all those. What is this thing? Oh, that was when I was taking Java, so we're still in fall semester of 2024. This was comic panel practice. I also wanted to combine ballpoint pen and microns just for different values to test things out and stuff like that. And of course, character interactions and shapes and whatever. This is me and my friend in web fishing. Another comic page test. This is where Reese and Adrian in beast form stumble upon an abandoned siren facility because it smells like cherries. And in this story, the main chemical they use to subdue jags smells like cherries. So it's always a bad sign when they smell a large amount of that. This was just more fun stuff. I was kind of playing around with Norman Rockwell-esque style. Obviously not very close considering his prowess, I guess. But it was fun to draw an old person because I tend to draw people in their 20s because all my characters are mostly in their 20s. Yeah, more fun stuff. That was, again, for that earlier custom commission I threw up on the screen because it took me a while to complete. This was fun because I was combining a bunch of animals to make a new creature. It was like stag beetles, centipedes, lobster, and then like also bats kind of. But I was trying to combine the way the muscle fibers in an arm work also with like arthropod legs. So if this is the deltoid, then this leg represents the bicep and other forearm muscles, and then they can splay out for this creature to fly. Obviously, that means that their forelimbs aren't very strong, but it was very fun. They are also biologically transgender because they switch sexes every season for maximum genetic diversity. Yeah. Other basically fun stuff. I was thinking of like regional variants too, and then obviously Adrian. This is when I'm still concepting Santi's beast form, but especially right here, and I was trying to find my own weaknesses within my art, and I was like, wow, I can't draw animal feet. So I started practicing that immediately, because that's crazy. This was for an art trade that I ended up finishing. I can throw that up on the screen as well. I just wanted to draw my character's beast forms, because I hadn't done it in a while, but this was very fun. I especially like this one. I actually have no idea what this page is, but I'm going to flip now. Oh, there it is. That's a Reese listening to his engine with a screwdriver. And it's a valid trick to see if your engine is okay, and I learned that through Chris Fix, my Lord and Savior. Here are some more cars. I do enjoy drawing cars. I've been doing those more often. These were some quick ideas for a new tattoo I was going to get. I ended up not getting this tattoo, but I got something else instead, and I'll put that up on the screen and also who the artist is, because he did a fantastic job. These were concepts and ideas for Money Shot's dragon form. I wanted to make it more of a race car graphical look, which is why these patterns aren't very naturalistic, and also why there's orange right here to mimic car signals. I didn't end up going with it because I just didn't feel like it, but I'm still working on dragon form alternatives for that as we speak. Maybe I'll put some of those up there. This is me trying to get Reese's face down again, because again, I was in a big slump after working like a dog and getting beat up in customer service, and I just was very uninspired, so I was trying to get back into the swing of things. These were scripts for one of my classes because I needed to do a bunch of speeches. And the reason I was doing lines was because I was trying to find more naturalistic ways for animals to stand, since I'm going to be drawing a lot of feral animals for the comic. These were planned infographics for Broker on JAG Biology. I did finish this one, which I will also put up on the screen, and I hated it because the patterns have no visual congruence. There's no like laws that they follow, and I'm going to change that with the help of my friends. They gave me some really good ideas. Lots of modeling and speckling to come. This is when I had really bad right hand pain from work and stuff, so I was trying to learn how to draw with my left hand just in case as a backup, and I think I succeeded. I will block this out because that is an address. But these are more fun ballpoint pen portraits of my guys. More random left hand practice. I think those are with the microns. I was just having fun with perspective here with Judas. Judas's beast form is very easy for me to draw, so that's why I tend to exaggerate more stuff with him. These were left. I think this whole page was left hand, which I'm very happy with because I was practicing such a short amount of time. Also put up another piece I did digitally, fully left-handed, shading and all. Also left-handed, and then I was feeling incredibly art blocked, so I destroyed the rest of that page. More nonsense. This was when Jags shift, they keep their piercings. So if one has earrings, even though they don't have external ears in beast form, you will still see the earring. But with that being said, where do nipple piercings go on Jags? Do they go on the pectoral area? Do they go to similar to where other animals have teats? It's not known. The real answer is, though, because they're dermal piercings, they would actually stay in the pectoral area. Fun fact. More Adrian stuff. I was testing if I could get more values or more subtle values with cross-hatching, but I didn't really commit, so it just kind of looks like a normal drawing. I was working on Adrian's tattoo designs because I was going to get a commission of him from my friend, which I still need to finish that tattoo map. Oops. It's been like months now. More fun headshots and random creatures and hatching and whatever. This was supposed to be like a day in the life of, like, you know, the hourly comic challenge that a lot of artists do. And I like the concepts a lot. I especially like this little guy right here and that one. But I never finished it. This was fun because it was a lot of hatching. I did this on a call with a friend as we were catching up, so that was very relaxing. My friend Sitka came to visit me from his home state, and so he drew a lot in my sketchbook, and that was really awesome. Or actually, no, I went to visit her, and then he also came to visit me later, so I'll get to that. And then after that road trip, because I slept in BLM land because I didn't want to pay for a hotel. If you don't know what BLM land is, it's Bureau of Land Management land, and it's free to camp on. But with that being said, there's also no water, no power, sometimes no service. Not this case, though. There was just really good service in the middle of the Sonoran Desert for some reason. And I was sick, but I didn't know it. And so I woke up and was coughing up blood. And I also got pulled over for the first time on the way back. And then I, like, saved people from doors that weren't opening because the motion sensor was broken. And I was like, dude, I have to get out of the desert. Like, where the hell am I right now? But I've made it back, and I was sicker than ever. So these are pretty sick, no pun intended. But I didn't know what the hell happened here. This says I'm deathly ill, so that gives more context. More hatching practice. This one was really fun. I just wanted to practice with some abstract forms. There's the Ahim Whimper. This is also Sitka's character that she ended up coloring, which looks phenomenal. This is Reese on a horse, and these are, I also drew these incredibly ill, by the way. This is a spoon and a fork freaking it, because I was bored. And at this page, I started to become extremely art blocked. These were for just random spitballing ideas for my good friend Sia and 99 Crabs comic Runoff, which I will advertise on screen. And also, you should check it out when it comes out because it's sick as fuck. More character drawings. My busted frat couch that lives in my dreams constantly. And if I don't draw it often enough, it comes to haunt me. And my dreams even worse. More character stuff. Yeah, Lucas is from San Diego, canonically, so he'd be a Padres fan if he knew anything about baseball. Same with Adrian, but neither of them care about baseball. Or, I mean, Adrian wouldn't be a Padres fan. He'd be a Dodgers fan because he's from LA, but yeah. Reese carrying Adrian. This was supposed to be like a realistic weight exercise, but I failed, and now it looks like Adrian weighs 10 pounds, so I'm going to come back to that and revisit that. The Luppet. This one was fun because I was trying to keep expressivity while not sacrificing facial, facial consistency. So what a lot of the really good character artists can do, where they'll draw very exaggerated expression sheets for their characters and the character looks consistent the whole time. I think I succeeded with some of them. There are a few things I'd like to change, like this was for sure a warm-up. And then there's just fun lettering right there. But yeah, in the comic, I'm planning it so in beast form, their faces look more like that and expressive, but depending on whose perspective it is, if they're in true form or human form, they look more animalistic. This was some stuff for a 3D modeler who came to me and said he'd be down to 3D model one of my characters. I still have not finished a ref sheet for that. Oops. This is Kristen, her true form, which I'm pretty solid or happy with. She is a major side character that is related to Marnie, and I'm still trying to figure out her beast form. She is based off my car, which is a 2001 Nissan Altima, and it's my favorite thing in the universe. And it is also very ugly, which makes it even more my favorite. These are clothing fold practices, because I was drawing clothing and I was like, wow, this sucks. I need to figure out why this sucks and fix that, because that's embarrassing. This was a comic, or a bunch of comic thumbnails, and here was some of the dialogue that I based it off of. It was supposed to be for Pride Month because it's some Yuri, but I didn't finish it because I'm lazy, and that was a lot of work. Yuri in the sense that it's just lesbians, it's not an SFW. I'm not good enough to draw an SFW. There is... Oh, I watched both Hellboy movies back to back, and I really enjoyed it, especially when Abe said that at the end of the day, all freaks have art is each other. Yeah, just more of that stuff. My little guy, more Judas. This one was really fun because I got to play with perspective and car interiors, which are very hard, especially the car interior parts. Obviously, it's not perfect, but I really had fun doing this because it also showcases their characters. These are just two random bodyguards. I really like this stylized headshot of Lucas. I think it's very consistent 3D wise, and I think it looks really good, so I'm happy with that. And then just some Hellboy sketches because I was in the mood to draw that. And yeah, this is when Sitka came to San Diego and we were drawing outside of a cafe, and then we played add-on but with a dragon, so there's our result. Super fun. And then just more random stuff. These are free body diagrams for classical physics or classical mechanics physics, and I was explaining it to one of my chem classmates who was taking I explained it to my chem classmate who was taking the class next semester. So yeah, that's what all that is. I'll probably block that out just because that's like somebody's real name. But I went back to my old house before my parents sold it and got my pens back, so that was pretty sick. And here is some car practice. I was practicing cars because what makes them so hard to draw, at least for me, is that a lot of the surfaces are curved planes. And so what happens is you can see the top and bottom of the plane from different angles, and that makes it more confusing than, say, like a normal rectangular prism. So I wanted to practice that because that was what was giving me the most run for my money in terms of cars. This is concept art for a comic I want to have done before Lightbox, so when I go I can pass out free versions of it. Fingers crossed I'll get it done. But I did also finish my tattoo portfolio successfully, which is the first big creative project I've done in a long time, so hopefully I can do that. Just more random sketches. This is the interior of the airport I was at. I don't know if you can like see it. There's a pillar. I mean, the airport I was at being LAX, infamous. So more Marnie in perspective and things like that. There's her face and also my shoe. More of the same. This is when I was at a different airport and drawing as to not get bored or go insane. I really like this baby crocodile. All of these are from memory because I didn't want to waste energy or data or anything like that. Yeah. Yup, nothing much to say here, just doodling. I do like this car though. I was trying to draw more mundane objects, and I'm still trying to draw more mundane objects because I'm out of practice with that. And also I've been bored with characters recently just because that's what I've been doing for so long. This was in preparation for my tattoo portfolio, which I'll also throw up the finished piece of this on the screen. Yeah, Same with these swans and this dog and stuff like that. The portfolio was unsuccessful in the fact that I didn't get an apprenticeship, but also I knew it would be because like I can't draw smooth or straight lines to the degree that is required for that field, which I'm okay with. I will continue to work at that. But it was successful in the fact that it, again, was my first large creative project that I finished, and so I'm very proud of myself for that. Also, I went to 6 shops in person, so very proud for that as well. But yeah, I finally finished it. Here are Adrian and Lucas lounging on the couch with a very ugly yellow wall. And here is Marnie graffitiing something. I did finish this on July 2nd, so more than 20 days ago at this point. And here's the back. I was kind of lost as what to do at the back, so I just kind of threw some random junk on there. There's a bunch of stickers I was carrying around for a while. Yeah. Not much else to say here. I hope this one is better than the first one I recorded. Not that I'll be posting that one. But yeah, I don't know. I might go through my tattoo portfolio at some point. I also might not. But I've already got another sketchbook that's basically halfway done. So I will be back soon. Thanks for watching.